Good morning, everyone. So, I'm Tiago Rodrigues. I'm the CEO of the Wireless Broadband Alliance. I want to start by thank you, the prpl Foundation team, for the invitation to be here with you guys today and share some of the work our members are developing in the Alliance. Just to share with you, so WBA, as we call it, Wireless Broadband Alliance, is a typical non-profit association. We have a group of members supporting the organization. We pursue this vision of seamless and interoperable Wi-Fi services. We have been around since 2003, and we have a series of initiatives, including, for example, World Wi-Fi Day, or even we run our own events that we are co-locating here in Amsterdam with Network X. Very briefly, just to give you a quick snapshot of our membership. As you can see, it's a mix of operators, manufacturers, vendors, device manufacturers, chipset manufacturers. Probably many of the companies that you represent are here on this slide. Some of your colleagues are active in the WBA, so I just want to expose that to all of you. And like many other organizations, we have quite a vast set of programs. We are organized as well in work groups. These are the 6 work groups, main work groups that we have. So topics like 5G and the convergence of 5G with Wi-Fi, topics of IoT, next generation Wi-Fi, the new capabilities the Wi-Fi is bringing to the market. Roaming work group, just to share with you, interoperability between networks and roaming between networks is a big thing in WBA, starting with Wi-Fi networks, carried Wi-Fi networks, enterprise networks, but as well now extending to private cellular networks. Then we have an open roaming group, and I will share more about open roaming later on my slides. And we have a testing and interoperability group that do some work. For today's presentation, I just want to focus on 2 topics. One is the operated managed Wi-Fi reference architecture. So this is a new program in the Alliance. We kick off in beginning of 2022. Was proposed by a group of companies that I believe are as well some of them members of prpl Foundations, and I believe all of them members of Broadband Forum as well. So they brought up this initiative in WBA, and I will present a little bit about the work that we are driving in WBA. The other one is our open roaming and the federated roaming approach that we are developing for Wi-Fi, and I will talk a little bit about it. Okay, so operated managed reference architecture for Wi-Fi. So a group of companies proposed this work item in the WBA. So the main goal was to revise and discuss and do one assessment on the residential Wi-Fi architectures for operators and identify if there are any improvements, gaps that may be needed or new features that needed to be incorporated. So the objective of this work item is to develop technical specifications, guidelines that operators can implement and deploy on their architectures. We started by doing an assessment on the different options for mesh protocols for the in-home environment. We look into as well different data models that exist and to the specifications and standards coming as well from many other organizations, and as well the cloud communication protocols that you guys have been leading, and together with Broadband Forum have been developing those areas. So one of the goals of the group is to be as inclusive as possible, to look into all the different options available in the industry, do an assessment, discuss those capabilities, and come up with the results of those assessments and try to build bridges and find joint efforts to fill any gaps that may exist. You can see here some of the companies involved. We have the project leadership team between Deutsche Telekom, BT, Airties, and MaxLinear, and then some examples of companies that have been contributing actively on the project. We, at the end, we decided to have a phase approach on this initiative. So the first work item was to categorize and do a selection all the different key features that are relevant for an architecture for the residential environment, and that work has been done. So all the members of the Alliance have been doing that identification. We did as well a survey to all the operators and broadband players, and there was some prioritization on all the features that were identified on this work item. Was as well agreed to cover these 5 areas, so installation, channel location and selection, self-healing and client steering, optimizations of networks, and as well remote management. There's been the 5 elements identified. The first deliverable of this group is planned to come out by end January on our next meetings that we are having on the Alliance by final week of January. So most likely we'll liaise those documents with Broadband Forum and as well with prpl Foundation. I just want to share with you as well that what was discussed is the next phases of the work. Based on that initial prioritization effort, the members identified a series of other topics to be addressed on the following phases. And you can see here some examples of that work. So topics like prioritization of devices and traffic separation per SSID has been all examples of topics that have been identified to be covered in a future phase. And as well, on phase 3, some more advanced topics will be covered. I think it's interesting to share that we have been having a collaboration with prpl Foundation. You guys have been exposed on the group. A few presentations has been made. We have a common set of members, and I think my presence here today as well is a sign of the interest of collaborate more on this area and have more the members of both organizations involved, avoid any duplication of work, avoid that there is repetitive efforts, but there is a collaborative environment between the different organizations. Now, I just want to cover in just 2 slides what is open roaming, because in the Alliance we believe there is a continuation of work of the residential Wi-Fi environment that have an angle of interest with open roaming. So open roaming is the typical roaming federation where devices can roam between different Wi-Fi networks. And for that, we create a public key infrastructure where identities are shared among devices, and those identities can be recognized by different networks, either in the same country or even different countries. There is a distributed identification and authentication model based on open roaming. Open roaming is based on the passpoint technology that was a standard defined by the Wi-Fi Alliance. Until now has been very centric on operators, especially the mobile operators has been using passpoint for Wi-Fi offload. But now we expand the passpoint capabilities with open roaming to enterprise and even to residential environments. Just to sharing with you some numbers. So we have today more than 2 million APs live with open roaming. We have more than 600 certificates issued to different entities, more than 300 companies involved. This is just one graphic of the example of open roaming installed in a couple of healthcare institutions in US. And basically the objective is to give a fully automatic experience when one capable device enters on the coverage of a Wi-Fi network that is part of open roaming. So we want to migrate the experience that we all have on the cellular world when we do roaming, that we can bring to the Wi-Fi environment. So my device will understand which networks can connect, and is going to connect automatically without any manual intervention. They will select based on the credentials how to attach to the network. And sharing with you some examples of deployments. We have now more than 1,000 networks live. We have more than 200 POCs going on. Regarding the residential environment, we are doing POCs with several broadband players and operators because they see the opportunity to consider to have the typical Wi-Fi community type of service where there is a second SSID on the residential environment that can be used for, let's say, external access to people that are somehow roamers on my residential space. And with that, I don't need to share my password or somehow onboard those devices into my home network. And just to finish, so in the Alliance, we see the evolution of the residential Wi-Fi architectures as a key element of our work items. You saw on our work groups. We believe new challenges are coming, both in terms of applications with augmented reality, the metaverse, discussions that probably many of you are already having, high throughput video with 360 video and other applications, but as well, and you know this so well as me, the number of devices that exist on the residential environment are continuing to growing more and more. At the same time, the Wi-Fi standards are evolving drastically, not only with this Wi-Fi 6E, starting using the 6 gigahertz band, but as well Wi-Fi 7 is already there. Probably some of you already have prototype products using Wi-Fi 7, so it's another standard that is coming that will utilize and be critical for the residential environment. At the same time, Open Roaming for us is a key program. We are related to Open Roaming and as well to the residential environment. We are doing a substantial work on deterministic Wi-Fi. How can we apply more QoS, QoE on the Wi-Fi networks? That has been a key element. Our collaboration on that front with Wi-Fi Alliance has been critical as well. And I will leave just the final message, just to reinforce what I said in the beginning. WBA would like to continue to work with prpl Foundation and continue this healthy collaboration. Thank you.